Well, hello, studio teacher friends. Welcome to the Beyond Measure podcast, your weekly shout out of solidarity in the music teaching profession. My name is Christina Whitlock. I am your host and self-appointed anytime piano teacher friend. If you have been searching for like-minded teachers who embrace things like humility, curiosity, and the fact that we will never know it all, look no further because you have found him. Welcome to your people. Seriously, some of the best teachers from around the globe have rallied around this show, and we're so glad you're here with us today. So, without further delay, let's get on with the show. So last week, I had the privilege of speaking to the Anchorage Keyboard Teachers Association, and I shared with them some thoughts regarding Lego bricks that I thought might be helpful to share with you here on the podcast as well. So, for any of my new Alaskan friends who are listening today, here is a special shout out to you and the incredible collective of teacher colleagues you have up there. Special thanks to Mark Weathers, a Patreon supporter and self-proclaimed Beyond Measure groupie, for the invitation. So, I was giving this presentation to their group called The Teacher as the Method, depending less on books and more on individual expertise. I talked a bit more about this session back in episode 142. That is worth a listen if you missed it, and it will be linked in the show notes for today's episode. The premise of this material is the fact that we forget how much we know about playing our instrument when we rely solely on method books and repertoire to do the teaching for us. We know so much about our instruments, friends. It should not throw us for that much of a loop if our students forget their books, or if we find out their method is moving too quickly or too slowly for them. There are so many times when a teacher could and should veer off the path of their chosen method series and simply use what they know to teach the student in front of them. It's a whole thing, right? But for today, I want to focus on this fact. If we make the lesson experience all about the books, if we approach our lessons as a series of pages and instructions to be practiced and passed, then that's what our students come to believe playing the instrument is all about. And it makes me think of this parenting dilemma that I've come across with Lego bricks. Yes, Lego, the children's building toy. Let me explain. We love Lego at my house. I have always seen them as a great toy for creative development, not to mention just tactile development, right? Building and tearing apart those little bricks are great for growing fingers and fine motor skills. I love the endless possibility of a bin of Lego bricks. It's so great for brains at any age, right? But here's something I would absolutely do differently if I had to do it over again with my kids. I would only buy the general sets of colored bricks. Instead, my children have grown up building countless Lego sets with different themes. Like we've built Disney-themed Legos with Elsa and Ariel and Belle and all of their buddies. We've built coffee shops and houses and ambulance and pet shops. We've built flower bouquets and Darth Vader and, you get it, the list goes on. And those have all been great. Like my kids are pros at following those Lego directions and quickly bringing their end goal into fruition. And yet, for a while anyway, if I would sit them down with a tub of Lego bricks, they would look at me and blink a bunch of times. They'd be like, "Where are my instructions? What am I supposed to build with these?" And it hit me that we weren't participating in a creative activity anymore at all. Like they enjoyed the clear pathway to the end result. They liked having a beautiful finished product. And so do I. Completed projects are wonderful things, right? But then what? What have they actually learned from that experience? Don't get me wrong, being able to follow written directions is a great skill. So there is good there. But if they have built 14 Lego vehicles from instructions, I would assume that they would be able to create a Lego vehicle on their own using similar processes. And that has just not always proven to be the case. And here's why we're talking about this today on this podcast. Teaching our students to play their instruments can present the exact same conundrum. If my students only know what to do at the piano by reading instructions off the page in front of them, they are missing a huge part of the puzzle. They're doing great things, they're building cool structures, but they're not engaging with creativity and with art the way that we really want them to, right? I know, because I grew up that way, just like a lot of you did. I was halfway through graduate school before I even felt comfortable playing from a chord chart or a lead sheet. And I was graduated with 2 degrees in piano performance before I finally came to realize that I could indeed play a little bit by ear. That is hugely frustrating to me, but I am determined to do better for my students. I do not want my students to sit down at the piano and blink a bunch of times wondering what they should do with the thing in front of them. I want them to see their instrument as a wealth of possibility. I am doubling down this year on the fact that I want my students to learn the instrument, not just the repertoire. Now, once upon a time, that statement would have sent chills down my spine because I love the piano repertoire. I'm obsessed. Most of you know this. Old stuff, new stuff, I love it all. I buy it all and I teach it all. And I don't ever see that changing. But along with the repertoire, I want my students to know that the piano is their playground. Yes, we can recreate other people's ideas and make cool things out of them, but I also want them to recognize the wealth of possibilities. So, how do we do this? Well, obviously, I can't answer one of the biggest questions in Piano Teacher Universe on a show that is 20 minutes or less. Plus, there are people who speak on creativity at the piano much better than I do. But for today, I want to offer a few reminders to use what your students already know to fuel creativity at the instrument. Or, even better, use the concept that they are currently learning. So, for one small example, if you are teaching students about staccato or legato, let them explore those articulations all over the piano. I mean, there are a million ways you can do this, but for the love, do not just have them play whatever staccato exercise is on the page in front of them and call it a day. Have them play an old piece, but all staccato. Give them a simple 3 or 5 note pattern and have them play it staccato in every octave or in multiple keys. Ask them about an animal whose footsteps would sound staccato and let them pretend that they are that creature stepping up and down the piano. The beauty of this whole approach is this is how they are actually going to internalize what staccato feels like anyway. This is where you can work with their technique. This is where you can build an understanding of the concept rather than simply recognizing it on the page. And again, this is not to discount the importance of being able to read it off the page. That is a really important skill that matters deeply to me. But this is also a chance to understand the importance of articulation in general. How not all quarter notes are created equal, and how we add character and inflection into our music. It's So much more than just lifting our hand when there is an extra speck of ink over a note on the page, right? Similarly, let's talk about scales. When we are dealing in whether it's pentascales or octave scales or whatever, scales are so much more than technical drills. They are trails that we are blazing up and down the keyboard that make paths for our music to live on, right? It's like clearing a very specific walkway through the woods so our feet know exactly where to step. And every time we play a scale, we are reinforcing that one particular path, right? But how many of our students realize this? How many of them are just thinking about where their thumb goes or how quickly they can get this part of their lesson over with? How often are your students transposing short little motives to each of the scales they are playing? I venture to guess not as often as they could be. How often are they creating short melodies of their own individual scale pattern? The same goes for chords. If your student is playing 1 and 5/7 chords in their pieces, they can probably also be harmonizing simple 5-finger melodies, whether those are familiar tunes or things they make up. They can be playing around with which inversions of the 5/7 chord lead to what inversions of the 1 chord. They can make different rhythms out of those 2 chords. They can read them from a chord chart. They can find them in different keys. All the things, friends. There's so much we can do, and it's not all going to be contained in the pages of their method book. It's not possible, and we don't need it to be. Now, here's the important thing. I am not suggesting you do it all. You can't do it all. And trying to do it all is a bad plan because it's too much and you will fail and you will get discouraged and end up doing none of it. But seriously, as you teach this week, choose one concept you are drilling that day, close the book, take it all the way off the music rack, and think of something else you can do with it. I make it a habit to spend at least 5 minutes or more of every lesson with nothing on the music rack in front of my students. It takes intentionality, but it is worth it. Because this is how you get students who understand the building blocks of their instrument and how they work. This is how you get students who don't look lost when they approach a piano without their book. This is how we avoid kids who build 14 Lego vehicles with instructions, but don't actually learn the process well enough to apply it to their own creations. Look, I know it would be much easier if I could just give you these 7 steps to building independently creative musicians. Wouldn't that be great? There are plenty of creators out there who are trying to sell you their templates and their frameworks. I am increasingly more aware of how unmarketable my perspectives are because they are not done for you quick fixes. But I'm not here to sell you false promises. I can't give you the 7 magic steps. I am much more interested in telling you the truth, which is this. You know things about your instrument that your students do not. I need you to stop looking for the perfect way to teach these things and instead focus on making sure your students leave their lessons knowing something they didn't when they showed up. Trust yourself. Trust your knowledge. Again, you know things that your students do not, so show them. Use great materials along the way. Yes, please do. We have access to incredible composers and publishers, and there is no reason to feel stuck in the music that you are assigning. There's too much out there. Now, before I completely run off the rails here, let's share a toast, shall we? Find a glass and raise it with me now. Studio teacher friends from all over the world. I want to celebrate you today for all the things you know about music and playing your instrument. I hope you are able to embrace those things and use them to fuel your instruction while you partner with incredible music and resources to give your students the best of all worlds. May we carefully consider how much we are teaching our students about following directions and how much we are equipping them to create music of their own volition. This is how we make lifelong musicians, friends, and I am 100% here for that. Cheers to us as we fuel the creative thinking in our studios. Hear, hear. All right, friends, now that I have successfully changed the way you look at Lego bricks, I'd say my job here is done. If you are interested in more of my thoughts on embracing your role as the teacher and the method, I have a resource for that. It's called Making the Most of Your Chosen Method, and it's a starter guide to putting yourself back in the driver's seat of your instruction. It is currently just $29, and it's available at christinawhitlock.com/methods. You will also find the link in today's show notes, which can be found at christinawhitlock.com/episode 185. That's christinawhitlock.com/episode 185. Those show notes include a link to a transcript of today's episode, along with related episodes that you'll probably enjoy. So that's it for today. I wish you onward and upward, ever flexing those creative muscles.